I don't know whether you're surprised by this move. You know, my question was, where's the due process? But it's happened anyway, hasn't it?
Well, hold on, Nigel. Hold on. Remember why they're doing this. There's no due process about moving into Ukraine and bombing innocent civilians. So please don't give me any due process. There is no due process in Russia. So let's push that one out the window and stop getting wound up about it. Fact is, the government, which, as you know, I'm not a massive fan of, have got very few weapons in their armory in regards to this situation. And one of those is sanctions. It's the biggest one. And a huge amount of sanctions have been put on. And you're absolutely right in what you're saying. They're trying to put as much pressure on Russia to force some form of change, whether it's a change in regime or a change in leader. Because, as you started off saying at the beginning, you don't know where this is going to move to. And it could escalate to levels that are unimaginable, that none of us want to be even thinking about. Furthermore, the situation is NATO and the rest of the West don't really want to get into a war to create that escalation where it becomes Russia against the West. So sanctions are important, and oligarchs that have got influence over their president are definitely fair game.
OK, I take the point you're making, and we have put, very severe sanctions and restrictions on Russian banks and many other big economic activities. I guess my question, Theo, was, Abramovich is very, very high profile. If this turns into an attempt to punish every well-off Russian in London, I just sort of ask about any sense of equity. That's all.
Well, I don't, again, you're using words. At the moment, bombs are falling on people, killing women and children. So please, just don't use words like equity. I mean, the Chelsea situation, which is what you invited me on to talk about, I think is a very delicate situation, because Chelsea is not a mansion in the West End or in Knightsbridge that Abramovich owns. Chelsea is a British institution. And whether you're a Chelsea fan or you don't like Chelsea, the fact is they're one of the most successful football clubs in the country, certainly in the last 20 years. And furthermore, hundreds of thousands, nay, millions of people have got massive emotional investment in Chelsea Football Club.
Yeah.
Their parents, grandparents, and the government, whilst I think I've done absolutely the right thing in the sanctions, and I'll argue, if you want me to come on and talk about the sanctions, I'm happy to do so, absolutely the right thing. Whether they're doing them in the right way or not, I mean, we all, with hindsight, we can all do things slightly different. My biggest concern is the integrity of the sporting game of football, and how these sanctions are going to affect the integrity of the competition, of the Premier League competition. Are they going to put Chelsea now at a disadvantage, which means that the latter part of the season now, anybody playing Chelsea gains an advantage? That doesn't seem to be fair as far as the sporting competition is concerned. Or, as we've seen with the sort of hashed up plans they put up, are they not going to allow travelling supporters to go to Chelsea and buy tickets?
Yeah.
Which means Chelsea get an advantage. You imagine a London derby with just Chelsea fans in. I mean, that doesn't quite work for me. I think the government have got to go back now, look at these licences, and they've got to protect the integrity of the competition. Chelsea Football Club, like them or not, is not a building. It's a living, breathing business with millions of people emotionally attached and thousands working for it, being paid by it. And the competition involves most of the country, to be perfectly frank with you. So they've got to make sure they protect the integrity of the game.